Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Vegan Tour Guide Podcast with your host, Mike Knight, where we'll bring you great information about a vegan plant-based diet. It doesn't matter if you've been vegan for years, part-time vegan, or just gathering more information. This podcast is for you. Thanks again for joining, and let's get today's tour started.
Welcome to the Vegan Tour Guide. I'm your host, Mike Knight, and I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Thanks so much for tuning in. For all the repeat listeners, thanks so much for coming back and joining us for yet another edition here of the Vegan Tour Guide. Appreciate that and appreciate you helping spread the word to everybody. And for the newcomers, thanks so much for giving a listen. I hope you will get a lot of information out of this. The big goal I have is to help you along your transformation by providing you knowledge and information so you can make, the type of decisions that you want to make. And I do that with bringing knowledge and with bringing people on. And my goal is to always kind of bring people, they tell their stories, their tipping points, if you will, their whys, what they're doing now. And so you can relate, because that's my biggest thing. That's what I found on my journey. And that's why I kind of crafted, the podcast this way, is that, bringing people on that are relatable and that people see, it's not one size fits all. There's not one, quote, type of person that's plant-based vegan or anything like that. You're going to find everybody can do this. So I want you to know that while you're going through your transformation. And so and you'll see on my website, thevegantourguide.com, that for me, it doesn't matter where you're at in this journey. You might be listening right now and be plant-based vegan for a long time. Short time, you may be still transitioning slowly, as we're going to talk about today, or you may not have done anything yet. You're just gathering information, or just trying to figure out, hey, what's this all about? All right, that's awesome. All it's awesome, because again, I just want to give you relevant knowledge and information, via these podcasts, the older podcasts. Go check them out, the previous ones, to see the people we interviewed there and their stories, and also, of course, again, information, like I said, on the website. So thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. And speaking of, like I said earlier, people's journeys and changes, today we got Marcus Watts on. Marcus brings a very cool story in his journey that I can't wait for you to hear, because, what Marcus did, a lot of times people come on and they may have come from a place where they weren't healthy, or a lot of times or they didn't know much about plant-based vegan or anything, or, weren't very athletic. Again, there's been, like I said, all kinds of different people on, but Marcus is one of the first that has kind of come on, and that he was extremely healthy and athletic. We're talking about someone, he's going to tell you, obviously about himself, but you're talking about somebody that rose up and had actually, a 6-year professional basketball career. I mean, he made it to an elite level, and you'll hear him describe that. And then all of a sudden you're going to hear what happened to him as truly a near-death, scare, and how what happened after that caused him to look deeper and caused him to kind of do his own research, if you will, kind of contrarian to what was being prescribed to him at the time, by doctors and the medical staff, that he was, visiting and reporting to after his event. And he just looked at it and said, you know what, I'm going to find a better way. And so that's what he did. And so we're going to listen to what Marcus's story is. Also, want to thank so much again to Brendan Fitzgerald and the great people at Planet Protein. Give a shout out to them just for, the sponsorship and helping out, with this podcast. I mean, they have the phenomenal protein bars. You've got to check those out at planetprotein.com. Go check out those protein bars. Great friend of the show, helping out the show. And like I've said before, you got to really read the ingredients, because, as they say in life, not all things are created equal. And that even goes down to, quote, plant-based vegan protein bars. All right. Brendan Fitzgerald and Planet Protein and his whole entire crew there, they have heads and tails above what they're doing there. So go check that out at planetprotein.com. And now I want you to get ready and get a pen and paper, because I'm telling you, Marcus, when you hear what he's doing now, including, his fitness and what he does, running his own gyms and the knowledge he brings there, get a pen and paper for this one. And don't worry, I have a lot of stuff in the show notes for you. You guys know I always do that for you. But for those of you also just listening right now to the podcast, get ready to take notes, because Marcus really brings it. It was phenomenal to have him on. He's got a lot of energy. You're going to see that. You're going to hear that. Here we go. Marcus Watts. man, thanks for coming on the Vegan Tour Guide, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to get to talk with you. Just share whatever I can with, whoever wants to listen, man.
Stuff. But what's been going on with you today, man? I know you're at the gym, so did you just get done knocking one out, or you been training people?
Yes. We had classes this morning. I didn't get to train yet. I'll probably train here once we get done with this call. But yeah, I had classes this morning. I had a client about 7 a.m. out at one of the local city parks. And at 9:30, and another client at 10:30, and coached a class at noon, and been in here with Brad trying to work on some marketing and stuff for the gym. So, we're trying to get more ways of sharing that, the motivation and the education behind the fitness, and just inspire more people to want to put themselves in a better wellness situations. So, got to have good people around you to do that.
Nice. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Well, look, all right. Well, let's do this. Let's talk about, because I know, you and I have talked offline a little bit.
Right.
But, a lot of times I talk to people, and everyone's got different, unique journeys. And I love that. A lot of times people I'll talk to maybe come from, they had ill health or, wanting to lose weight, sometimes stuff like that beforehand. You were somebody that before going plant-based, get into your background, but you were obviously an optimal physical condition, at least on the outside and all looking, because, you were playing at a high collegiate and pro level. Tell, if you will, kind of go into there, where you were at, even maybe the training you were doing in basketball and all. Tell us about that.
For sure, yeah. Well, I guess for the people that don't know me, maybe I should actually fully introduce myself. Yeah. We got excited. We kind of just were rolling.
Yeah.
So my name is Marcus Watts. I'm a master fitness trainer. I live in Fort Myers, Florida currently. I was born in Florida, grew up overseas as an Army brat. I would graduate from high school in Alaska and then earn the opportunity to go to college on a full scholarship to play basketball and go to school for business. I transferred to Florida Gulf Coast, where I continued to excel, and from there, through hard work and preparation, I was enabled the opportunity to go overseas and play basketball professionally, which I did for about 6 or 7 seasons. I always knew my calling was in fitness, and the real goal long term is working with youth athletes and linking the gap between, or linking, being the bridge that links the gap between academics and athletics long term. And here in the short term, the goal was creating a couple outstanding performance training facilities. CrossFit was my first gym that I opened. I ran performance training facilities just north of here in Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda, where I trained, MLB players, second round draft picks, Super Bowl champions, and then, got the chance to open my own place. So I've had my own gym since about 2013. Also a master trainer for our local SWAT team, for Fort Myers Police Department SWAT team, and do everything from strength and conditioning in general to performance stuff to weight loss, CrossFit, basketball, everything. So, I really do have a passion for fitness in general. And to go back to what your main point was, is, in 2013, I was 30 years old, in better shape, jumping higher, running faster, less body fat, more muscle mass. I was about 230 pounds, and I was about 8% body fat. And, at that time, I was, like I said, at 30, I was more athletic than when I was 22, less injuries, more mobile. Strength through the roof. It was a great time for me. And I was kind of just sideswiped by blood clots, and I was hospitalized for about 5 days in 2013. My left arm actually swelled up about 4 inches larger than my right arm. I was immediately taken to the hospital. From there, they couldn't really figure out what was wrong with me at first. Once they figured out that I had a blockage. I actually had 2. I did have pulmonary embolism. I had 1 block here in my collarbone, and that's the only reason that there was an indication, because my left arm swelled up so large because of that blockage. Now, I had another blockage which had reached my lung. That's the pulmonary embolism. So you to kind of paint this picture, this large, muscular, extremely lean, veins popping out everywhere, and I'm in the hospital with my shirt off, in the hospital bed, and they're asking me all these questions, and they're like, how do you eat? And I just to paint a picture of when I was a meat eater, my training was very high volume. So this was what a day of eating looked like. And I would get up. I told him I would have a cup of coffee with coconut and MCT oil, also a serving of grass-fed butter. I would cook 5 pieces of bacon, all right, like nitrate and nitrite-free bacon, the cleanest bacon I could find. Cook like 5 to 7 pieces of bacon. I cooked 7 to 10 whole eggs in the bacon grease. I'd have about 1 to 2 cups of greens, and then probably a cup to 2 cups of sweet potatoes. So my normal caloric intake just for breakfast on a good day of training, I needed to have 1,100 to 1,300 calories at breakfast.
Whoa.
That's how much I was, because I was training, 3 to 5 hours a day, along with coaching and being on my feet. So, the first thing that people are going to say is, well, no wonder you had blood clots because you're intaking all those fats. Well, the funny thing about it, and, a lot of times it takes a while for these studies to come out. The studies have been out for years, but it takes about 10 years for these studies to come to kind of popular knowledge, these peer-reviewed studies. And the studies had shown that, eating high-quality fats, eating, the yolk of the egg, because you're thinking, I'm eating 7 to 10 whole eggs, that these things are directly linked to high cholesterol. Well, the nurses told me that's impossible. There's no way that you eat like that, just at breakfast, let alone. And I was like, why? And they said, well, because a good HDL level in your blood, if you don't know, your HDLs are the healthy fats, right, in your blood, is anything over like 60. Well, mine were 97. So at that point, I completely dispelled that having a very high-fat diet, eating the yolk of the egg, eating extremely high fats was going to be detrimental to your health, and thus further added to the dilemma of what the situation was with me. And it just kind of sent me on this path that made me want to explore, Mike. And when the doctors told me that, the answer was, take this medication and you can leave today. But if you get in a car accident, we're not going to be able to stop the blood. Or you can leave here today, you can take Coumadin, and we're going to have you come to the hospital every day to get your INR level checked. This means I have to drive across town, get pricked a bunch of times, sit around, wait to get given this medication, and then go home and stick myself with another needle. I just was like, it's got to be more to it than this. And literally, Brad's here hearing this story. He's heard the story before. I was on my way to see a specialist. So after about a month of doing that every single day, I had to go see a specialist. As I'm driving there, I just stopped and turned my car around and drove back home. And I said that I didn't trust the system to care about me as much as I care about myself. And I said, well, I'm just going to see what I can explore and do this on my own terms. And it was a kind of, when I say that, it's kind of a morbid thing that follows it, in that I'm going against doctor's orders. I was just hospitalized for like 5 days over Christmas. Actually, I was in hospital over Christmas. There's a possibility I could die. And I felt like I had a better chance of taking care of my body and putting myself in a better position than entrusting medicine, which is meant to medicate, not preventative medicine. I was going to see a specialist whose job is to either prescribe you medicine or take you under a knife.
And keep you in the system.
Yeah. So, I just went on this journey about exploring what my next options could be. And I decided to enjoy more of every day. I went on a bit of a mindfulness and personal journey. I stopped focusing. Obviously, I couldn't exercise. For 16 months, I couldn't exercise. And I ended up taking on a plant-based diet as an experiment, as one of the ways to try to do this. And not only did I then get my blood test after about 3 months and be 3 or 4 months and be told that there were absolutely no signs of blood clots at all. And if they didn't know previously, there would be no indication of it. I also came back stronger than I had been 16 months prior after about a month of training, as well as I lost about 15 pounds, within 40 days.
Wow.
So at that point I was like, man, there's something more to this. Let me explore. And I just dove in full tilt.
Man, that is awesome. You know, it's funny. It's wild. I mean, I didn't have as near of a skier level as you. However, kind of the same thing with me, you know, with doctor type interactions, 2 tipping points I've told people, like in my story. One, my father was a ACC basketball official for years, and ACC football, even NFL football official for years. Back in 97, he's refereeing on national TV a football game. Boom, has a heart attack. Bam, in the game, Carolina, Virginia. So we go to the hospital. We're there 13 days, touch and go. He makes it, but the doctor comes out, and never forget, the lead cardiologist comes out and goes, hey, listen, you've just had this major, you know, cardiac event. We need you to start eating better, so we need you to start eating fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
I go through life, and that's, like I said, kind of first tipping point for me, because I was young at the time. Right out of college. And I remember later on in life thinking, whoa, why did it take that to say that's what's better? Well, you know, and then flash forward to me in life later on, I went in, had blood screen done, because I stay on top of my health, as you can imagine, because of what happened to my dad. I was on it. I get my blood work done, and he's like, hey, you got plaque buildup and all like that. It's not bad yet, but we want to make sure, you know, kind of be preventative. We want to put you on Lipitor, which, man, I'm sure you've been researching stuff. I'm like, I don't like drugs and medication. You know, what it does to the liver and everything. It's the same thing. I started researching. I was going to get a prescription, wound up never getting the prescription, went plant-based, went back the next year. He's like, what'd you do? I'm like, what? He goes, what'd you do? And I go, man, you know, changed up, went plant-based. He goes, and I got a cool doctor. I'm fortunate. He's a good guy. And he goes, don't stop. Literally, your blood work is a 180. It's practically perfect. Don't stop. And so that was kind of, you know, for me, but it's so cool.
And that's such a good point, because, like, that exact same thing is what they told me when it was actually Nicole. Nicole's the one that took my blood. She was like, you're like, screenings are like one of the healthiest like we've seen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? So, and yeah, I mean, I can, and even then, you know, hearing your father's doctor say that, what year was that?
97.
I mean, it's extremely progressive, because most of the doctors will kind of say, we need to stop drinking, but most of them aren't going to say as the first means, hey, listen, you gotta start eating better. And now I feel like it's becoming so much more mainstream, but you know, it's funny, you know, I mean, you can say what you want about what the health, and look, I feel like there were a lot of things that maybe didn't portray it the right way that can kind of turn people off and, you know, cause certain conversations. But in the end of the day, it started the conversation going.
Yes.
And since then, I can't even tell you the amount of doctors who are now outwardly saying, you need to start eating better, and you need to remove this from your diet and that from your diet. And they're removing the meat and removing the dairy. And, you know, I tell people, you know, I really try not to be too pushy, you know what I mean? But I'm just like, listen, man, if you feel great, you got no problems, you're getting your blood screenings done, then, hey, you know, I guess keep doing what you're doing. But you should explore and find out more about the process that goes into milk and dairy, and the process that goes into the meat industry, and the process that goes into clearing land to make more room for more of the cattle and the produce. And I think, you know, for me, that's kind of where it started. It started as, hey, listen, I'm going to try this plant-based thing, whatever. I don't care. Like, I guess I won't eat meat. To, man, there's an effect going on here. Something's happening here. Like, there's a lot more to absorb in. I mean, once I found out how much of the Earth's surface is actually used for livestock, you know, once I found out, I watched the video. I never would have thought. I mean, I was a guy's guy. You know, I played quarterback. I played football my whole life. I like my steaks medium rare. You know what I'm saying? I drink gallons of milk. I eat peanut butter and jelly to get big. You know what I mean? And I hang with the guys. And I never would have seen myself looking at animal cruelty and animal rights, if you will, as a whole, the way that I do now. I would have never seen it. There was a video yesterday. It was one of the vegan sites on Instagram. They had posted a video of the process that they go through to actually kill a chicken. And I just couldn't even watch. I mean, I'm interested to hear, what you guys think is the best way to do this. And actually what they do is they put them in this, I don't know if you've ever seen this. Maybe I'll find it and send it to you. They put them in this cone. It's like a cone, like the one that your dog will put on his face, but it's thicker than that. And it's a it's not as wide. And they put him down so the head is down here. And the head just kind of they pull the head out so the chicken can't flop around. And then, sorry to be so graphic, but they cut the chicken's neck in a certain place. And then they take the knife, they open his mouth, and they put the knife through his mouth so that it splits the chicken's brain. And I was just thinking about that. And I'm just like, the conversation I have with people sometimes is, it's only okay because we're the superior being on this planet.
Yeah.
And it's a much deeper concept because you're like, well, yeah, we're the only ones. That's the way that it is. That's the way of the land. One of my buddies had posted a picture of a painting. It was a really cool concept. And it was a Martian from outer space with a fishing hook down in planet Earth. And at the end of the hook, he's got a human, by the mouth. And then it's like, oh, hey guys, no big deal. It's just catch and release. So but what if we weren't? What if, you know what I mean? I mean, what if we weren't the top dog? I mean, would you say that that's a humane way for you to go? And and because of that, I choose to be in the middle. You know what I mean? If you were born in Asia, if you're born in parts of Asia, you would eat dogs and you would eat cats. That's the culture. That's allowed. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the Day of Red or something where it's a country in Asia where they kill they sacrifice 1,000 dogs in the streets. And actually it's called the Day of Red or something. I'm so sorry. I'll find this exact information. But the streets, they just lay the dogs in the street. It's a sacrifice for whatever their culture is. And there's pictures and videos of Americans that are there traveling, and they're trying to save the dogs. They're like, no, you can't do this. This is wrong. And they're like, well, in our country we don't kill cows. We don't eat cows. And it made me think even more, man, because if you travel to Ireland, you can go into a restaurant and order a horse steak. But if you're in our country and you kick a dog, man, they might send you to jail. At least put you on probation.
Animal cruelty. Yeah.
So who's right? You know what I mean? If I was born in another country, if I was born in ancient Mexico, I'd believe in a certain God. If I was born in a certain place in Asia, I believe in. So who's right? Are these people wrong because they don't? No, man. I'll just be in the middle. I'll just eat these plants, and I'll just take my dog out for walks and feel good about myself. So It just was a crazy journey that I went on, man.
Well, it's so cool you bring that up because you're right. A lot of times it is bringing that awareness out and that education to people. And because I've said it before, one thing I love about plant-based vegan is that it touches so many things. Like you're saying, is that it's one of those few things in life to where you do one thing and get a return of multiple. I'm a businessman, you're a businessman. So, you get it. Most of the time, you and I are hoping for a 1-to-1 return, 1-to-2 or something. You can go plant-based, and you and I both, sounds like went on a path. We went plant-based first for health. That was our first striving. I'm like you. I love animals. I mean, my dog, she's running around me right now while we're doing this. Love animals. I'm that guy that stops in the middle of a road and gets the box turtle so it doesn't get squished in the road. I'm playing Frogger out there myself, trying not to get hit. I mean, I love animals. But you know what? Honestly enough, I never thought about it. That wasn't my first.
I never thought about it.
Yeah,
I never thought about it.
Yeah, it wasn't my first drive.
And again, this is a podcast with people who are here for plant-based reasoning. Most times I don't really talk about it too much, but it's at that time I realized that I didn't care about animals. I didn't really love animals. I love pets.
Gotcha.
And 2 years ago happens to also be the time that I got my Belgian Malinois. And I would look at him. Oh, Mally, do you have a Mally?
Come here. Now she's eating.
Yeah. But, I just remember looking at him and I was like, man, like, in another place, somebody would see you and wouldn't see you as a companion or as a protector. They would see you as just a dog, and you'd get treated how you get treated or worse. And it just made me think about it a little bit more. It was never, I was like, man, like, this is and like you said, it's a byproduct of, man, like, I need to stop drinking out of plastic. Oh, man, like, I need to stop. I need to make sure I recycle. Like, oh, man, like, I don't shop at, like, grocery stores except to buy things I have to buy, like large bags of rice, toiletries and stuff. I'm going to markets to buy stuff. And even then, I'm still trying to buy from smaller markets, even though I might pay a little more because I want to support the local farmers. I want to support the smaller local shops who are getting their stuff straight from, places that are doing more of the right things in my eye. I'm always even telling people, look, like, even if you don't want to go plant-based, you don't want to go vegetarian, vegan, you should experiment with it. And what it's called is it's food elimination. Removing foods from my diet and then adding them in like 72 hours at a time. So what you do is with food elimination, and you're probably versed on this, but, for about 30 days you go on a cleanse. So you take out anything processed. In this case, if you were doing a cleanse, we would take out, the dairy, we take out all the processed foods, just raw vegetables, raw fruits, nothing with additives, nothing with preservatives. Then you start to add in items one at a time. So back when I was eating paleo, it would be, okay, have, 30, 35, 40 days clean. Let me go ahead and add in, I'm going to have like a soda. And you have a soda and it's like you can taste it for the first time and you're like, damn, like, I don't want to have that. Okay. You know what I mean? And what you do is you add foods in one at a time. Some people would actually eliminate eggs, and what they would find out is that they've got a food sensitivity to eggs. And what you do is you add in one item, and then you don't add in another, and you check your stool and your bowel movements for 72 hours before you add in the next food. And you can always go back and be like, what is it that I added in that's new? And for me, it's the same thing, even when I would, my experiment was even deeper. When I first started and I didn't have the reasons for not eating meat really that were as near and dear to me, I was like, okay, it's been 6 months. Let me try a piece of meat. And I would try it, and I'd be like, or excuse me, let me have a burger. And then I would be wanting to see how my body was going to respond. The thing that I found about myself was my body didn't actually have any issue still processing the meat. And it probably also goes back to my culture. My people are from the Caribbeans, and we eat a lot of red meat, a ton of extremely fatty foods, natural fatty, a lot of red meat. So my culture is so adapted to it that it didn't affect my system. But now, by this point, man, Mike, I didn't enjoy it. I was eating it. And I remember the first time I had something and it had bacon on it, and I wasn't prepared for it. And I was like, I ordered like something from a tropical smoothie, not tropical, but tropical smoothie. Yeah. And it was like one of the sandwiches, but it had the like Beyond Meat chicken, but it also had bacon on it. And I forgot to tell them no bacon, and I bit it and I almost like threw up because you know what I mean? Because I didn't know. I forgot what it tasted like, and then once I had it, I remembered. But for me, my body didn't really respond bad. I just stopped enjoying the taste. I could taste how processed it was. I could taste how many additives were in it. But most people are going to find out that their body's going to respond immediately, and it's through your bowel movements. I mean, there's tons of, maybe I can even put together some information for you on this to share. But it sounds weird, but you should examine your urine and your stool every single day. Like if your stool is really hard and it's kind of like when it's like pellets, that's a sign of dehydration. You know what I mean? If you can see the food in your stool, or you're having like any type of like, explosive diarrhea or something, then that's normally a sign of your body not being able to digest that food and your body's trying to force it out of your system. It should look a certain color. It should have a certain texture to it. It's the same way with my dog. Hey, is my dog eating healthy? Let me look at his stool. Man, he's dehydrated. So it became more of like paying attention more to my body and finding out what worked best for me. I suggest it for anybody.
That's cool. I'm glad you shared that. Yeah, and I'd definitely love to get some stuff, and we'll put it on the blog post and all about that for everybody listening and watching this. I'd love that. Well, take us through. Okay, so you went, obviously your story, like you said, when all of a sudden you had this health scare, you came out the backside, you found out plant-based vegan is right for you. What does that look like more now for people that are, watching and listening here, that are maybe starting out, and probably a lot, and then also maybe starting out people, and then people also that obviously you stay very fit. I'm sure you obviously had to find a way to keep your lean muscle mass. I know, for instance, when I spoke a while back, with David Carter, he talked about 300-pound vegan, about how he went boom, he dropped down from 310 to 260. But he found his way. So I'm curious, what did you find your way for those listening to add the lean muscle mass and keep it on? Like, obviously, looking at you do.
Thank you. Yeah, man. First, I appreciate it. Second, I would say the name that you just mentioned is, until I start putting out more of my content, it's the authority. David Carter is the authority. I listen to David. You need to go in, you need to Google David Carter Rich Roll. Listen to the David Carter Rich Roll podcast, because I actually have a Evernote that I can share and we can make public.
All right.
And all the foods that he ate, I've listened to that podcast maybe 5 times. All the foods that he ate, how he made his shakes, having the power blender, things like that. That's kind of what gave me the assurance that I could do it. Mm-hmm. And the results that David Carter had, exactly what I had. Dropping weight instantly, all my lifts go up. I'll tell you another thing. I hadn't actually run like a mile, like in close to a year. I used to run all the time. I just didn't do it. I just didn't enjoy it that much anymore. Got some new shoes. Been over a year since I ran a real mile, like just messing around or something with my dog, right? I would do Metcons and stuff at the gym. Go out for a run. I go over a bridge. I come back. I check my clock in my tracker, and I'm like on pace to PR my 5K from 2012. And I'm like, and I know what it was. It was 22:40, because my goal was to break into the 20-minute mark.
Yeah.
At 2:25, 2:30, and I was like, holy! So I just kept running, and I didn't stay on. I ended up going too far because I had my dog running with me.
Yeah.
I had those same results, man, and like all my numbers. Every single lift went up. Right now I'm about 235. My back squat's about 430. I'm 6'8", by the way, so I'm extremely tall.
Yeah.
My deadlift is like, I haven't maxed it in a while, but we had a class where you had to pull like a heavy deadlift in 4 minutes, and I picked up to like 500 in 4 minutes.
Get you some of that.
Yeah, and then I power clean about 310. I can do about strict pull-ups. I can do about 38. And then like kipping pull-ups, I can do upwards of like 55 kipping pull-ups unbroken.
Yeah.
I play basketball. I'm 34. I just turned 34 last week. I play basketball with one of the top 10 JUCOs in the country. I practice with them for like 3 times a week for like 2 hours.
Nice.
Like 18, 19-year-old kids. So, yeah, it was really about an experiment in finding how much I needed to eat, and not really stressing and enjoying the process as well, listening to my body.
Yeah.
If I'm tired, I'm tracking my calories. If I'm tired, I'm going to add some more. If I'm feeling good, I'll stay there. But you'd be surprised. And I was talking to a couple other like bodybuilder vegans, and there's a kid I met at Veg Fest Tampa last week. His dad, 30 years vegan, 30 years. His son's 22, never had meat.
Oh, wow.
There. Asked him, hey, on average, how much protein you have a day? I already knew the answer. He's like, oh yeah, less than 100 grams. Same thing. At 240, 245, even when I was that big, 100 grams, maybe. And I'm going and benching 335 for a 3-second pause.
Wait, but that's impossible. That's impossible.
Listen, and that's what I tell people too. I'm like, listen, I understand what you guys are. I wonder if I have the book in here. I don't think I have the book, but there's a book called Plant Power that's really good. It's more of the detailed stuff behind like the eating. But yeah, literally, I'm telling you guys right now, most days I don't ingest 100 grams of protein. but I'm able to go out and, jump really high, jump higher than when I played professionally when I was paid to fly around the world. I recover better. I don't have near the joint pain. And I generally overall, feel a lot better. And even when I have breaks when maybe I don't condition as much, when I come back, I don't feel near the same. I still feel like I process oxygen so much better.
So what's that like for you then? What kind of regimen are you following there? Maybe what are maybe some just your core staples you like to bring in?
Yeah. So one, I'm having a crap ton of shakes,
okay.
Of course. I find that it's the easiest way to get calories in for anyone and not stress about it.
Uh-huh.
I buy mason jars and I just make these 50-ounce shakes and I just pour them into mason jars.
Yeah.
There's two types of shakes. There's a green smoothie, which is meant waking up, especially if you need to detox or if you've had long weeks or something like that. I really suggest them daily though. I'll take a blender, 3/4 of a blender. I'm actually dropping an ebook around Black Friday.
Nice.
So we can put that up and share it with people. But blend the green smoothies on average would be about 3/4 of a blender just packed with greens. I'm probably going to add a cucumber. I'm going to add maybe 2 to 3 cups of fruit just for the flavor, a little bit of water. If I choose, I'll add some pea protein, but I'm adding normally kale. I love kale a little bit more, but you have to have a really high-powered blender to blend up kale. If not, you're going to have, if you have just a basic Ninja or something, you're going to want to use spinach because it blends better. I have a blender that's called the Dash blender, which I really recommend.
Okay.
I need to do a partner with Dash because I'm always talking about them. Because it can make soups. It'll make soups and they come out hot. But if you have what's the blender that everybody has?
There's what, the Vitamix?
Yeah, the Vitamix is good. It's the OG. And it's a great blender because you can blend so many things in there. So this is what my shakes look like. 2 cups of almond milk, 1 cup of water, a half a cup of oats. This is I'll kind of pull and push different stuff here and there.
Uh-huh.
2 bananas, 2 cups of fruit. So we're talking strawberries and blueberries or maybe mango and strawberries. I'm going to try to freeze the berries also. Then I'm going to add 3 servings of my pea protein.
Okay.
Which is about 28 grams per. So that breaks up, I'm saying, three of those foods, almost 90 grams of protein just in that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of times that I don't even add that in there. What else do I put in? I'll normally just take straight almonds or some type of nut butter. So I'll take maybe 2 servings of almonds. So that's a half a cup of almonds. Serving's a 1/4 cup. What else do I add in there? Chia, which is 6 grams of protein. So this shake is 70, even without the protein, this is 50 grams. Because the chia seeds it's 5 grams per serving of protein inside the oats. The chia seeds are 6 grams per serving. I use hemp hearts, which are 10 grams per serving. I'll use 1 to 2 servings of that.
Okay.
And then I will also add spirulina or maca in there. I love to add moringa. If you guys don't know, moringa is the most powerful superfood on planet Earth.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, moringa.
How do you spell that?
Moringa.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah, and we'll, like I said, we'll get together after this too, man, because I'll write up a bunch of blogs.
Yeah, please. That'd be awesome.
But moringa is the most powerful superfood on the planet. It actually grows. You can just pick it and eat it. What makes a superfood are the amount of antioxidants contained in it that can attack the bad things inside the organism. Okay. So moringa has the highest concentration of antioxidants inside of it. So literally, if you're starting to feel sick, you don't just pop moringa. So I'll feel like moringa or spirulina, which is just another mixture of a superfood, not as powerful, but really great.
Yeah.
Now, moringa will turn anything you put it in pure green. So, and you don't need much. You need like a half of a tablespoon or half of a teaspoon or something like that.
Nice.
So actually, I think it's more like, might be more like 20. It might be more like 20 grams. I gotta double check that. But either way, yeah. So that's a normal shake. I'll just blend it up. I'll put like another 2 cups of ice if I want to. Pour it into like 2 or 3 mason jars. Boom. Put them in my fridge. Take 1 or 2 with me, and then I'm gone. And I mean, those are full meals that are like, for me, with all the training and stuff that I do, you're talking around 80 grams of carbs per, like 60 to 80 grams of carbs per, and like 20 to like 35, 40 grams of protein like per serve. Because again, if you find a healthy, clean protein for you, I like a pea protein. That's going to be about 20 grams. 3 tablespoons of chia seeds is another 6 grams of protein. 2 tablespoons of hemp hearts is another 10 grams of protein. So that right there, that's 60. And hemp hearts, I believe, are a complete protein. So we can dig more into the complete proteins and stuff. And for those of you guys that don't know, a complete protein is a protein that contains all 9 essential branched chain amino acids. So there's 9 profiles that make up a complete protein. And the big argument is, it's not a complete protein. And I'm like, well, I'm still stronger than you, so whatever. But for those, like I said, the book that I recommend it's called Plant Power, and they actually do talk about every protein, if it's a complete protein or not, how you can take multiple different proteins and combine them together to make it's all out there in nature. You combine the right plants, and it's going to make a complete amino acid profile.
Gotcha. Go.
So right now, I'm live with Mike Knight. We're on this podcast talking about the Planet Protein Bar. So make sure you guys go check out Planet Protein. Mike, is that your favorite flavor?
That is my favorite flavor, the peanut butter.
All right. I love it, man. I'm gonna tag him. Yeah, and more companies like that. I love finding more companies like that and supporting them. If you guys don't, that's at Planet Protein. Go check them out for sure, man.
Yeah, definitely. And I've got his podcast. We've got it, Vegan Tour Guide, and all, so people could go listen to what he and I did. And that's, of course, thank goodness, I appreciate him doing that, putting you and I here together so you could share a whole lot of knowledge with people and tell everybody. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on and sharing all this, man. This is a lot of knowledge. Yeah, you and I definitely have to circle after this offline so I can put it on the blog post with a lot of – you got a lot of knowledge. And as you know, I'm like you. I want to keep spreading knowledge, information to people to help them make informed decisions. And, so, I mean, I really appreciate like crazy. Now, I know you were working on some stuff we talked website. Is it?
Yeah,
you still working?
The website, yeah, man, the website's going to be live this week. So here's the different places that you can go. It's going to be the vegantransition.com.
Okay.
That's going to be a place where you can go to get information that's going to help you gain the resources to start to make the process.
Okay.
A lot of people come to me and they're like, hey, man, I'm going vegan. I'm like, don't. Like, stop. Let's eliminate some things first. Let's eliminate dairy. Let's eliminate red meat. And then let's keep fish, chicken, and eggs for now. Which can you live without? Chicken, okay, awesome. Fish and eggs. And I normally will recommend like a process and say, hey, listen, I don't want you to eat any of this stuff. But right now, let's take the steps to make sure that like we can ensure that you're successful for life. So the vegantransition.com, you guys can follow me. We're going to have the Instagram for that as well. My Instagram is @thewattsguy. And then also the YouTube channel is going to be the Vegan Transition as well. And also we're working on, with my girl Sabrina, we're working on a cooking channel where we're going to drop actually just nothing but recipes and vegan stuff to help support. So yeah, the vegantransition.com, that'll be live this week, as well as thewattsguy.com. I'm going to have also linked to all that will be like, there's a specific training channel on YouTube. There'll be a specific website where you can go and get this training. So what I do is I offer to people everything from the nutrition, the training, just general coaching to kind of help you through the processes. So a little bit of everything, man. Man,
that is awesome. Well, I'll definitely have that in the show notes. That way we can point people, that direct them. And I can tell you, I want to reiterate to you, I love what you said about telling people, look, let's do this in stages. And it's wild. I just had the other day on the show, got him John Oberg with the Humane League. Man, I mean, and a lot of times people hear like Humane League and all, and they're thinking, well, of course he's going to want to say, stop me. And I love, even he says, and I mean, he was awesome. I mean, an awesome interview with him. And he said, you know what, Mike? He goes, we'd much rather have people go gradual if that's how they need to, instead of going all in. They rush real quick. They do 42 days, and then they say it doesn't work, and they're out. He goes, in the long run, what did 42 days really mean? He goes, let's go about for life. And even he was saying, gradual. Let's ease them in. So I love that you brought that up, because I think a lot of times, it is, and people ask me, and I'm sure they ask you, I think people assume that if you're going to do it, you're going to want me to just stop, just immediately, you got to stop. Monday morning, wake up, and I'm a vegan. And no, let's do this. Meet you where you're at. Let's, like anything in life, let's make you successful.
Yeah. I think that what people need to understand is that coming off of a diet where you ate a lot of meat to a diet where you're not having any meat at all is literally like coming off of alcohol or coming off of some other drug. Or listen, it's a detox.
Yeah.
And your body is looking for what it gets from this. Once you put enough of it in your diet, you stop noticing that cheese is bad for you. You stop noticing that it makes your skin, this certain way, and that it makes you break out, and that it does this, and that you stop noticing that stuff because your body is so well versed at adjusting to climate, to adjusting to, when you stop squatting and you stop moving, you lose mobility because your body's smart enough to conserve energy. It's not going to keep fighting you. It's only when you take these gradual steps and you take them away that you don't feel the pain that it has on your body, and then you can be like, oh man, that wasn't too bad. But if you just take it out, if I take somebody who's, on drugs, or somebody that drinks, and I'm like, make them go cold turkey, it takes a certain type of individual. And listen, there are people that can do it.
Yes.
But it takes a certain type of individual to be able to do that, as well as the resources. That's why you got shows like the Vegan Tour Guide. That's why we're going to have shows like, the Vegan Transition and the VeganTransition.com and David Carter's website. Go to his website, the 300 Pound Vegan. Because these are people who have already been through the growing pains of it. I've already had the times where I didn't know what to eat when I was out. And I don't know what to look for proteins. And I don't know how to make my shakes. How much water listen, somebody's already worked it out for you. Here are the tools, but let's set you up for success for life.
Yep.
Take one step at a time. So.
Exactly. It's like you said earlier, banging out now 38 straight pull-ups. That ain't easy. All right, that ain't easy. And if someone walked to your gym day one, you wouldn't say, do a pull-up? Yeah, I could do it. Good. Do 38. People are like, what?
I need 38 of those. 55 unbroken, actually. Go ahead.
Really?
Yeah, first thing I'm going to say is, hey, listen, what we want you to do is this ring row where your feet are on the ground. Hey, then I want you to use a band, pull yourself up with the assistance of a band that takes 40 pounds off your body weight. And then I want you to control the descent, lowering yourself down. And I want you to do that 10 times. I want you to do 3 sets of that every other day for the next 6 weeks. Yeah. Well, it doesn't seem very glorious. Yeah, but then you start to get stronger.
Yep.
Now, a year later, 2 years later, when I was in college, I could barely do 15, 20 pull-ups. You know what I mean? When I got into college, I couldn't do any. So here I am 34. I was 18, 19 then. This was a process. You know what I mean? So, yeah, how can we set you up for success? And that goes for anything. With you running this podcast, the way that you followed up with me, with organizing my meetings during the week, with running my gym, with running my, brand consulting, with all the other, how can I set myself up to have the least amount of trauma and pain as possible and make it an easy process for me and everyone else that I'm dealing with? And it's the same thing. It's the business transition. It's the fitness transition.
Yeah.
Vegan transition and a vegan tour guide. Things like this are meant to share that information with people, man.
Well, man, that is awesome. Marcus, I enjoyed it.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Anytime.
Thank you.
Anything you guys need, man, for sure.
Well, and like I said, I know everyone's going to get a lot out of this. And like I said, you and I are going to talk offline. I'll get back in touch with you because I'd love to get some of that information you talked about. I'm going to digest this, go back through it myself to make a bunch of notes, and then follow up so I can make sure you and I can get together a lot of great stuff to put out there to people. So thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me, you guys. If anybody has questions, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook at The Watts Guy. You guys can DM me. I'll answer all your questions.
Awesome. All right, Marks, take care of yourself.
Later, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Take care. Right. Bye-bye.
Keep eating those plants.
See ya.
All right, Marcus. thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and your journey and really educating and bringing a lot of great relevant information for everybody listening. I think all of y'all listening would agree that Marcus really provided us with some phenomenal information. One thing I really like about Marcus's story is that it reminds us, all of us, the importance of proper nutrition and the right food. Because remember, Marcus was in phenomenal shape. A lot of times, in life, we may see people that they'll either tell you, look, I'm out of shape, or, maybe they got a few pounds they want to lose. And we've had people on the show that have talked about, they started off in like somewhere where maybe they were like really obese and they're eating horribly. And so then they changed all that in them with plant-based, and that was the start of their journey. Well, Marcus, as you heard, is like opposite. You would never have guessed, quote, there was something unhealthy lurking, if you will. Here he was, like he said, 8% body fat. All right. I mean, good gracious, 8% body fat, cut, ripped, a lot of lean muscle mass, playing at an elite level, young, athletic. I mean, you name it. Okay. Nothing on the outside would have drawn you at all thinking, oh, well, that guy looks like there may be something literally potentially life-threatening going on with him. And yet there was. Okay. So that I really appreciate, Marcus sharing that, because that's just a reminder to all of us. All right. That anybody can be, quote, susceptible to having these ailments and all like that when we're not, paying attention to what we eat and what we fuel in our body. All right, we've talked about that before. It's all about what we put in our body and the fuel there. So it's a great takeaway here. I love, again, the knowledge he shared. I mean, again, we're talking about someone, that is very athletic now, in the best shape, he says, of his life now. A lot of lean muscle mass, very strong, with what Marcus does, especially running the gyms. And you heard him talking about earlier, how many people he trained in a day and then running classes. I mean, everything. I mean, the guy stays athletic all day long. And yet, what did he say? How many grams of protein? Do you remember that? Only 100 grams or less? All right. Again, I know we bring that up, but I always love coming back and addressing that protein, because I know that gets brought up a lot, and especially for those of you listening that may be looking to transition or in the phase of transitioning now, and people are going to ask you, what are you going to do? How are you going to live? How are you going to survive? You're going to have a gazillion grams of protein a day. No, you don't. No, you don't. Here's someone that is in it. Incredible, optimal physical condition, doing it, like he said, less than 100 grams protein a day. It's about the fuel you put in the body, all right, and the quality of it. That's what it's all about. So I really appreciate him, bringing that up as well. Everybody, go check out his site, vegantransition.com. All right, go check that out for him. A lot of great information that Marcus is putting on there. I've been talking a lot offline with Marcus. I'll tell you what, the guy is a wealth of knowledge, and he will be someone that will stay involved, here with my blog and podcast, because I really respect a lot of what Marcus has done and continues to do. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in again. Thank you so much for helping spread the word. That's all I can ask. This is something I love doing. This is a passion. And I want your help. I need your help. Forward the podcast on to people. Tell people to go to Vegan Tour Guide. Repost it. Retweet it when I put it out there. Repost it on Facebook, if you will, just about the podcast so other people can see it and get the knowledge and information out of it just like you did. All right, direct on a Vegan Tour Guide. Give me your emails. I want to hear from you. I love hearing from people. All right, vegantourguide@gmail.com. Read all of them. I love getting them and the knowledge, information people send to me. And hey, Mike, have you ever thought about this? Have you ever done this? I love it. All right, so send those. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. All righty, and until next time, live Pura Vida.